The other question that I want to ask is another one that a lot of people have sent us in, and it's about 480i versus 480p in MadWorld. And MadWorld is a 480i only game, and I know I want to know, and lots of other people want to know, why it's only 480i. で、もういろんなユーザーが聞きたいんですけど、なんで 480i しか対応してないんですか？
マッドワールドはもともとみんなご存知の通り白黒赤ってしか使ってないけど、そこをどんなユーザー環境でもすごく綺麗に見せるように僕たちがすごく工夫しているので、480i とか P とかそんな関係なく、もうとにかく綺麗な映像っていうのが誰でも見れるように作ったから、まずそのマッドワールドを実際にプレイしてその綺麗さをみんなでその目で確かめてほしい。そしたら分かると思う、その理由が。
We also had a question that came in for Ken and Warren, and they answered it when we did our iChat, so let's flip over to that real quick.
My cousin, Martin Kaplan, works at Sega.
Great man.
Yeah, he was the producer for the Happy Tree Friends game. And that was a very funny thing because the first time that we met at the Happy Tree Friends game, we didn't know that we were cousins. We're sitting in the room talking about this stuff, and then off he goes and off I go.
They look identical, by the way.
Identical. Yeah. You know, we're cousins. Identical cousins. Anyway, and then he was having dinner with another cousin of ours, because it turns out that I'm actually cousins with everybody in the world. And he's having dinner with another cousin of mine, and it kind of comes up in conversation what he's doing, and he met this guy who works on Happy Tree Friends, and then the cousin that I knew said, "Oh, I know a guy that works on Happy Tree Friends. He's my cousin." And it didn't take long, and so that was kind of really fun. So anyway, my cousin Marty heard that they needed writers for this MadWorld game, and said, "Well, you should talk to my cousin Ken." And had a meeting with the guys, Patrick and Christopher, and it went pretty well. And then they said, "Yeah, we're talking about getting another writer in here." And I thought, "Oh my God, I have to get Warren in here, or they might hire somebody that sucks." You know, I had no idea who they were going to get.
They would have hired somebody that
Well,
sucks.
they might well have. They probably would have, yeah. And so, really, as a matter of self-preservation, because I can't stand working with Warren.
Because I still would have been sitting here in bed with him while he was working. I'm like, "What you doing?"
It's horrible. And he'd look at the hair on my shoulder and say, "Who's that from? Is that another writer?"
Is that another writer you're working with?
I'll scratch his eyes out.
But then Ken IM'd me, and it was basically the IM went, "Hey," and I'm all, "Hey," and he said, "You want to write on a video game that's really violent?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah!" And he said, "Okay, I'll have the producer contact you." And like 3 seconds later, I get a phone call from Chris, and I signed an NDA, and I was involved.
Now, as far as the second half of the question, how it is different than writing for Happy Tree Friends, is that the question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy Tree Friends has no dialogue, so all we get to do is describe the scenarios and think of these intricate ways to kill the characters. We didn't really do much of that in this, although it would have been nice because we probably could have added a few extra weird ways to kill characters. We were kind of on the flip side. In this case, we were just reacting to the characters being killed by using language.
Yeah, these were actually complete opposites. They're both, gross out and that kind of thing, but, one is we just write action that's violent, and the other one is we just write dialogue that's crude. So one was, it's really, we can't do them together for whatever reason. We can only either do one or the other. Like, can't do two things at once.
It's like going to a strip bar in California. You can either have an entirely naked woman and no alcohol, or a woman with pasties and alcohol. But apparently an entirely naked woman and alcohol is too much fun.
Yeah,
something's gonna go wrong. Trouble.
That wraps it up for PGTV episode 3. Another one in the bag. Thank you very much, Nishikawa-san. Thank you very much, Mr. Hunky Punk.
Stay down, bitch! I'll get you for that motherfucker!
Nishikawa-san. Do you have a last comment? 最後のコメントとかあります？
みんなレンタルせずに買ってね。
Alright, that's it. Don't rent the game, buy it. Please. Thanks a lot, guys, and see you for episode 4 coming soon.
Will it be your last breath? Will it be your last move? Will it be your last step? Step, don't step too close, or else it's gonna make a mess when your chest explodes. Yeah, throw the full move, make you go crazy.